I do want to talk about the last play, and a lot of it has been made about this on Twitter. And of course, I was watching Get Up this morning and a little bit of First Take before we hopped on here. But there's two things that I want to just make an observation on. Number one, Joel Embiid was dead in the water. He's at half court getting ready to heave a desperation one-handed shot. And Doc, I mean, I don't even think it was a good timeout. The timeout should have been called prior to that. He waited till 0.9 seconds. He was signaling at about 1.5, but he got 0.9 seconds on the clock. So very smart play from Doc. Sets up a play. We had run this play for me. I specifically remember we were at Dallas my last year with the Clippers. We were down 1 or 2. And we ran this play on the opposite side because I like to turn over my left shoulder. And I got a clean look. It hit the back of the rim, rolled out, and we lost the game. But it's essentially you're running a couple guys over top of Joel and the screener, and then Tobias set a little in screen. Now, if you call it a little in screen, it's not really a rip screen. It's not a pin down. It's a little in screen. I don't have necessarily a problem with the Raptors taking Fred VanVleet off the ball. Nick Nurse, he's signaling for him, fall back, because he was initially in position to be on the ball. And then he went underneath the basket. My big issue is they were supposed to be switching. If you look, that first loop that Maxey makes, they start switching. Gary Trent Jr. wasn't anywhere. He was in no man's land. And so when Tobias sets the flare screen for Joel on Achua, there was no one there. FVV is back protecting the basket in case they go for a lob. The mistake to me was not taking FVV off the ball. The mistake to me was just a complete lack of execution on the Raptors' part in the switching.
This might be a dumb question, but when you watch the play, obviously Fred is late getting there to a certain extent, but it's also just the massive size difference in terms of him being able to get that shot off.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have been there. It should have been Gary Trent. Trent was nowhere. Gary Trent was supposed to switch onto Joel. That's the issue.
So he shouldn't have been able to catch the ball there. Is what you're saying? Like that, like him catching the ball there.
Him catching the ball clean and just turning around. If Gary Trent switches onto him at the point of the screen, then it's a much, much different shot. Size difference aside, it's a different shot.
It's just not a clean look.
This was a scripted. This is like the end of every shoot around I ever had with Doc Rivers. The end of every practice, we go over 3 or 4 end of game plays from the side out. We would do that every single practice or shoot around, and it looked like a scripted shot. The switch wasn't anywhere to be found, and the communication, even on that first loop that Maxey made, you can tell there was some confusion. They were supposed to be switching, clear as day. Clear as day. I get taking Fred, putting him underneath the basket in case there's a lob, some sort of back screen to Joel. You muck it up a little bit. I get all that. I get that strategy. You don't want to have somebody on the ball. I get that. Now, the opposite of that, of course, is, we are taught, generally speaking, not every coach teaches this, but most do, in a situation like this where a catch and shoot 3 is required, if you're guarding the inbounder on the side, you shade the entire sideline. So you don't allow that pass to the corner. Generally speaking, end of game, you're putting someone with length and size on the inbounder. They started out with Fred on the inbounder, which again, that's, I love Fred. We love Fred, but that's not length or size. That's not typically the personnel that you would put there. So whether they left him there or not, they just completely botched the play.
It is funny. It was just so clean all the way around. It was like so clean. It was such an easy pass for Danny, and it was such an easy release for Joel. And you're kind of like, well, guys, like, what else do you have going on?
I don't know. I mean, give credit to Joel, a monster performance. This brings up a whole different thing too. Is like, should we vote for MVP at a different point in time?
I think so. I think I texted you this the other night.
All the other awards, though, are regular season. This is the one that consistently people have an issue with.
I think
as we go further in the playoffs.
When are they going to announce MVP?
I don't know.
Whenever they announce it in 2 weeks. They're going to announce, and I don't know anything, but my strong guess is they're going to announce MVP for Nikola Jokic, who's going to be not in the U.S. His team will have been swept in 4 games handily, and Joel is going to be like, who knows where this team is going to go, and who knows what he's going to do over the next 6 weeks. And it's not like, it's like he's winning the award because of his playoff performance. It was a very close race as is. I think that they should wait. What do you think?
It gets tricky. It gets tricky, especially when you look at the history of the award and how it's awarded. I don't have a good answer, nor do I have a good theory. I don't have a definitive answer. I don't have a definitive take. It's always murky when we talk about the timing. Was it Dirk's year? Was it Dirk's year that he won MVP that they lost in the first round? I may have that wrong.
They lost to Golden State.
When they lost to Golden State, that may be right. I can't remember. I don't remember everything, Tommy. I do remember though that Bob Cousy never shot over 40%. I do. Yeah, Jason says asshole for bringing up a Dallas Maverick memory. I do remember though. This is etched in my brain that Bob Cousy never shot over 40% from the field in his career.
Yeah. How do you think Bob Cousy would have done in that game last night?